Derek, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're not a unfamiliar face with these studios. You were telling me you stand around here raising money.
Yeah, into the middle of the night, 3, 4 a.m. normally with the charity appeals.
Yeah, with Ramadan being we just completed. He's probably
That's
here
right.
every day of the week, I guess.
Yeah, well, something like that. Other events as well.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
So listen, tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how it all started.
Yeah, so I mean, look, this is it's a passion project. It's called the Outdoor Muslim. It began organically. I was very busy with working in the charity sector. Anyone is a fundraiser. They're very busy up and down the country, long hours, especially campaign periods. And I was just engulfed in work, you know, as well as being engulfed in work, we're engulfed in the digital age, distracted by phones, and you don't really get to spend quality time with your kids, with your family. So I decided, let me just book out a little activity center. I got some of my friends together and we curated and planned out a whole bunch of activities that we thought would actually help us to connect with our kids in a deep and meaningful way. So we did a camp, it went great, maybe 20 of us. We thought, okay, let's do another one. And we invited not just the same bunch of guys, but we also invited our friends and our friends' friends, and we did it again and it went fantastic. We made it better and we thought, listen, we're onto something here. Let's launch it. Let's just offer it for the whole community. And now it's about 6 years later, we've got our 17th camp coming up in about 2 weeks' time in Slough. We've got our 18th one in Bristol a week later. We're looking to build a program, inshallah. But it's really just about, I mean, this project, which used to be called the Goodlife Camp, then we made it the Outdoor Muslim, which is more encompassing. And it's really just about getting fathers and kids to do two things. One is bond in a deep and meaningful way, which sometimes we don't get to do. We might kick a ball around, but are we really connecting with that child and giving them lasting memories? More often than not, we're not, right? And the second objective is to really get not just the children, but the fathers as well, to get used to some type of hardship and difficulty in a controlled way.
What's that, cooking?
Well, yeah,
cooking is hardship
there's outdoor cooking, but the whole idea is that adversity builds character.
100%.
So the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, the Quraysh, they used to send their children off to the Bedouins to learn the Arabic language in its rich form, and the second was to get them used to the rough and toughing of outdoor life, and make them strong and resilient for the challenges that would come and face them.
Is there an age limit to this? Because obviously, I was just telling you off air, I have a son. My son is now 23, but I would love to do something like this with him. Yeah,
I mean, we started off, and our flagship project was called the Goodlife Camp. It's still called that, and that age group is between 4 to 12-year-olds, boys and girls. So it's fathers, and if some people say, well, why don't you do mums? Well, we are planning.
Why don't you do mums?
We are planning to do some mums. We're just literally this week we're confirming if we can get a project manager on board. But I'm a father. I know what fathers are like, what their challenges are. So I'd like to think that I have a better understanding of how to deliver it for fathers. But we designed it for fathers and boys and girls to come and experience it, because our whole idea is building Muslim men and what we used to say youngsters, now we say the whole family through outdoor adventure. And so,
describe, tell me what a typical, firstly, how many days?
Yeah.
And then what a typical kind of day would look like.
Well, this is what we call an introductory camp, okay? So it's designed for people who've never camped before, or they've camped and they want to get their kids used to it. Okay. So they'll come to the camp, it's a one night only, you arrive on a Saturday morning, 9 a.m., for those that are on time. And then you leave on a Sunday around 4 or 5 p.m., okay? And we orchestrate the whole activity. So before you come to the camp, there's activities. You have to do a fathers and kids lunch preparation. So you prepare your lunch as a bonding activity. That's meant to you have to think about what should we make. Then you get the ingredients, you cook it together, and then you arrive on camp. And when you arrive, the very first thing you have to do is you have to set up the tent. Okay, this is something that fathers struggle with sometimes. But the whole, they come and say, can you give us a hand, set the tent up? We say, listen, it's really important you guys learn to do this as a father and son or father and daughter, overcome those challenges, right? And through the mess of, the lines here and the poles there, and, once you achieve it, that first sense of accomplishment with your child, you feel like, we did it.
So you're genuinely outdoors camping. I've got to stay in that tent.
That's it. You're camping outdoors. We have clean showers, clean toilets inside, right, in indoor facilities. So you're comfortable enough that you're not worried, but we're still, giving you food you're not used to, maybe a little bit less sleep, away from mum for the first time, these young kids. So it's it's amazing. The kids that come, we get learning disability kids, children with autism, ADHD, and parents who were anxious themselves. I had a father drive up once, and he came the year before his brother came, his brother-in-law. And his brother-in-law came, had a great time, and he dragged his brother-in-law with him that time. And they drive up, and I always meet and greet people on arrival. So I'm like, "Assalamu alaikum, guys, how's it going?" And I looked into the car, and this poor brother just sat there, and he's like, "Yeah, wa alaikum salam." I was like, "Bro, relax, it's all right, everything's gonna be fine." Within 20 minutes, he's like, "Bro, thank God. I was worried, I thought it could be in the jungle, we didn't have this." It's a controlled environment designed for first-time campers.
I was gonna say, Slough does not sound like the outback.
Bro, listen, the first one that we did, where we usually do it, is actually Southall.
No.
So when I tell people
What?
Southall, like, bro, that's the reaction we get. But these are activity centers that are kind of hidden gems.
Okay.
They're designed for seclusion, peace and serenity, like big, beautiful trees. We normally have canals or lakes close by. So we go for wilderness walks. We do scavenger hunts. We do a lot of activities that are designed to, one, upskill you and get used to outdoor, like how to start a fire, how to do campfire cooking, how to do pioneering, which is making structures like chairs, tables, swings, catapults, all with ropes and knots and pieces of wood. So it's very hands-on stuff for all age groups. And we do outdoor painting, stuff like that. We make our own paintbrushes using the feathers of birds.
You build a fire, the campfire and
do.
everything. So by the end, are you able to do that straight away? Like before, is a 12-year-old able to do this?
Well, we start from 4 years old, right? So there's, it's a journey. It's the fathers and sons and daughters doing it together. Sometimes it's the fathers encouraging the older kids to do it independently. But this is one of our camps now.
How many do you have in any one? Like one camp would be how many
people?
So
this camp we do about 4 to 5 times a year. But we're now, what's special about this year is we're actually building the product, the project portfolio. So we're going beyond a kind of summer season period.
Yes.
So we've got a very important camp coming up for the first time this year, and it's called Rites of Passage. So the whole idea is we bring fathers and young boys, or what we like to call young men, and we help to answer the question is, what does it mean to be a man? When have I gone from boyhood into manhood? For young girls, it's very clear. There's physical changes that take place. The Jewish community have bar mitzvah. There's like a celebration, inauguration. Certain communal tribes in Africa and Asia, you have to go out into the wilderness, and there's a sense of, okay, you do this now and you're a man. But the Muslim community, the Muslim young men, there's this problem we have where young boys aren't stepping up to manhood. They're distracted. Grown men are playing computer games. Grown men are, on the streets thinking that they're still, road boys or whatever, right? And we're not really moving from boyhood into manhood. So rather than take boys on youth trips, like some youth organizations are doing amazing work.
What age are we talking about now?
We're looking 14 to 17.
Okay.
But the difference is, not independently, we take them with the fathers. So we see ourselves as facilitators, and we bring the fathers and the kids, and we curate a whole program that's designed for the father to almost pass the baton of manhood on to the young boy to make him feel like, okay, for me to step up. My father has the weight of the world on his shoulders, bills, work, this issue, that issue, and rather than me being a burden, I need to step up. I'm getting to that age of, there's expectations on me. I'll be married maybe in a few years, or I have to start working in a few years. So what does it mean to be a man? And we try to answer some of those problems. We try to discover, it's not an overnight process, but it's a question that needs to be posed, and we try to facilitate an answer.
Amazing. And in terms of, we touched on it earlier, this seems like something that could be also very useful for families.
100%.
We in the society in which we live now, for a number of reasons, there are issues in every home.
Yeah.
Whether we like to admit it or not.
Yeah, 100%.
This seems like, to me, a really good outlet and an opportunity for families to maybe kind of reconnect.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that we're trying to build fulfilled, purposeful, and strong family units. Okay. The man is typically he's the head of the household. Allah's made him a shepherd to his flock, and the man has to lead. So we want to develop the men, we want to cultivate the children, we want to facilitate for the women as well to be part of that journey and play their important role as well, because we have real societal issues. No one watching this program right now is immune from the trials and tribulations of life, whether it's a family member who's suffering from substance abuse, depression, anxiety, pornography addictions, street violence, you name it, right? We're afflicted as a nation. The whole world is. We live in a digital age where it's just constant ideological attacks, all these problems coming from left, right, and center. So how do we facilitate that? I've been on loads of study programs. I've found massive, massive benefit in them. But I feel that sometimes, as much as we need more of that and people committing to them, because these days our attention span is so short, I feel that one thing that we don't really cover is we don't actually take Islam and the institution of the Quran and we don't bring it to life for people. So the nature and the wilderness, it's not something separate from Islam. In fact, nature is a manifestation of Allah and His names and His attributes. Allah is Al-Khaliq, He's the creator. So when you go into nature and you think and reflect over nature and you're humbled by mountains, you're humbled by the rivers, it makes you almost see your purpose in life or the scale of which Allah has created people and why we exist within the realm of society. And that helps us to deal with issues in our life. You know, the fresh hair doctors these days are prescribing walks in the park to help deal with anxiety and depression.
Yes.
Because studies have shown that just walking out where there's greenery releases dopamine into your mind, into your bloodstream, makes you feel more positive and energetic. So when we start to introduce nature, it helps families to connect with a deeper, more meaningful purpose in life. It brings the Quran to life. We see Allah, we see His manifestations, and we also, I think we start to see Islam in a bit more of a real experienced way. And that's why we do what we do. We push families towards this growth, inshallah.
Like, what more can I say? I think you've encapsulated everything that you represent and your organisation represents. And talking about dopamine, my levels are probably up there. I can smell it. So I'm going to hand over. Derek, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was really insightful. And I'm gonna grab you after this show's finished because I want to pick your brains on a few things.
Inshallah. Pleasure.